Hi.
Hi, Elena, finally.
Hi. Good afternoon, good morning, good night for everyone. So, just let's begin this wonderful session. We are here to discuss a little bit about the young changemakers, the power of the youth to change the world. And this is a session led by Ashoka Young Changemakers. Some years ago, Ashoka understood that we are living in an accelerating change world, and in order to promote the good of all in this world, we need everyone to be a change maker. And in order to be a change maker, we must experience this during our youth, mainly during our teenagers. So this is when Ashoka began to look for the young change makers that are already stepping up and engaging their peers in their initiatives to change the world, to change their community, to change their school. And this is when we met these wonderful people that are the Ashoka Young Change Makers. We now have a global community of Ashoka Young Change Makers. And we have here some of them, but we will begin introducing Yashveer, because Yashveer is the global leader of this initiative in Ashoka. So please, Yashveer, tell us a little bit about Ashoka Young Changemakers.
Sure. Thank you, Elena, and good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. It's so lovely to be part of this panel, and I feel honestly very privileged. Panels where I think we have the gender balance on the wrong side, but I think I feel so happy today that we have a panel full of five powerful women, and we are waiting for one more. So really feeling very privileged and blessed in that sense. I think a few years back I was reading one of the books, and I think I remember an African saying which said that if you educate a boy or a man, I think you educate an individual. But if you educate a girl, then I think you are educating the entire nation. So I think that's what is this event and this panel is all about. And we all know that the whole definition of education is evolving. 100 years back, it was who can read, write. Then I think a few decades back, it was who can graduate, and there was some different kind of streamlining. Last few years, we are seeing technology as a very big component of our education. And now, Ashoka, looking at our fellows and all the insights from last 40 years, we have seen that being a change maker is something which is becoming the new normal. So if you do not have the mindset or the skill set of being able to adapt to change, to be able to work in a changing environment, then somewhere there are some skills and some abilities you lack. So for us, Ashoka Young Changemakers is a program which was launched to address that particular need. We were anyway seeing from our fellows that most of our Ashoka fellows who are social entrepreneurs, and you have heard them yesterday, and a couple of them you'll be hearing today also, they all started very young. Most of them started at a very early age in their teen years, and that really gave them the abilities and the skills and the insights of how you can be a really inspiring change maker. So on that insight, Ashoka came together with this idea that if we want the world to know that every young person growing up needs to be a change maker, then the world can only know and learn from stories and real-time case studies. And that was the need on the basis of which we started Ashoka Young Changemakers. The second important aspect of the need of launching Ashoka Young Changemakers was also that if it is about how do we redesign and reshape the growing up years of young people, then we cannot have that movement being built without young people being at the center of it. So the another piece of Ashoka Young Changemakers is that young change makers who have already understood that they are powerful and they have created change. How do you develop them as co-leaders so that they can also give that power and share that power with everyone and every young person? That's the thinking behind us starting Ashoka Young Changemakers. Today we are present in 5 countries, and we have representation from each of those countries today. And the whole idea is, how can we make it a global movement which is led by these young people, and so that very soon, not very far away in future, we can have a world where every young person growing up aspires and becomes a change maker. So this is the thinking with which we launched, and I'm so happy and grateful that WISE team considered to have these young voices on this platform. And it's definitely a historic moment, and I'm looking forward to the conversation and listening to the amazing stories of our Ashoka Young Changemakers.
Thank you, Yashveer. Just great. Yes, great opportunity for us to be here at WISE. And so, just for everyone to know you, girls, just begin to introducing yourself. Who want to begin? Mana? Just to follow my screen.
Yeah. Hi everyone, my name is Beth. I am 16 and I am from Palo Alto, California. I'm the founder of Object, an organization working to promote confident young girls. We have monthly workshops with women speakers who share their stories and activity, and then I love to eat, so also some time to mingle over food.
Angela?
Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Angela. I'm 16 years old and I'm from Indonesia. I'm the founder of Dare to Lead, an initiative that encourages young people to be more empathetic, have self-awareness, enough to lead. We conduct workshops, boot camps, and other fun activities to improve the skills of the young people. I found that young people often feel left out due to a lack of a chance in them. That's why we want to shift that paradigm and encourage young people, including my peers and myself, to recognize their unique potential as well as the rights and responsibilities as a human being and a change maker in their community. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. So, Sangram.
Hi everybody, my name is Sanjana. I'm from India. I'm the founder and executive director of Ritu Chakra, a youth-led organization working towards promoting personal and menstrual hygiene amongst individuals of all ages and backgrounds. So we do this in 3 main ways. 1, we provide menstrual products to areas and individuals in need. 2, we ensure the access to relevant information and education by conducting workshops and follow-up sessions, recognizing that not just rural area individuals, but in urban areas too, menstruation is considered a taboo and it requires relevant education as well. And number 3, we promote an open and inclusive conversation surrounding periods amongst all genders. Our main mission is to ensure that every menstruator is able to menstruate with dignity.
Thank you. Tanha?
Hello everyone, I am Lamia Tansin Tanha and I am from Dhaka, Bangladesh. I am 19-year-old and the founder and CEO of Transcend. The aim of Transcend is to empower the 1 million transgender and hijra community of our country who are deprived of every human rights in this country. So the transgender and hijra community of our country, they get abandoned from their family in a very young age, and they don't have proper education, they don't have proper employment. This is the reason 95% of them have to involved in either sex working or begging. So Transcend aims to help this 1 million marginalized and unprivileged community through education, mental health campaign, health and hygiene campaign, training session, employment, and entrepreneurship.
Elizabeth?
Hello, everyone. First of all, I'm very happy to be here and to share a little bit of all of the work we are doing as Changemakers. So nice to meet you. I am Isabel. I'm from Brazil. I am 17 years old, and I'm a founder of a social project called Black Girls. The Black Girls Project is an organization that aims the insertion of Black girls into academic, professional, and cultural parameters of society. Because unfortunately, here in Brazil, when you are a girl and you are a Black girl, you don't have proper access to education and to opportunities of development due to your social condition. So our goal with the Black Girls Project is to promote the inclusion of those girls and develop them as leaders, because here in Brazil we have a large population of Black people and Black women, but just 0.4% of them are in leadership roles here in the country. So our goal is to change this reality and promote racial, to combat racial inequality and gender inequality.
We know that everyone has the power to change their community, their reality, their world, and especially when we are young, we have this possibility of doing so. But normally, the society is not asking us to do so. The family is not demanding for that. The school is not asking us to do that. The expectations are that we are studying and we are applying for thinking to be a professional in a STEM career. So what inspired you? What made you think different? It was someone from your family, from the school, from the community, someone that you saw in the internet? Who would like to share with us the inspiration?
All right, I can go first. The thing that inspired me to work for this marginalized and unprivileged community is the inspiration basically came from my mom. When I was in grade 4, my mom once shared this story with me. Like, as I stated, that the Hijra and the transgender community in our country, they are so unprivileged and they get abandoned from their family in a very young age. Is the way of their living or the type of their begging is they go to places, they in local bazaars, local shops, and in the houses of newborn babies. They go there, they dance, they clap hands, and they sing, they place the newborn child, and then they collect the money. So these type of thing in our country, the mainstream community, they don't like it. They legit hate this transgender community. They treat this community very inhumanely. So when I was very little, I don't remember the story, but my mom shared that in grade 4. So when I was a newborn baby, once this gang transgender gang came in our house, and they wanted money, and my mom welcomed the gang so nicely, unlike other moms, like unlike other households. So the Hijra gang and the leader, my mom still remembered the name. The leader of that gang was Mala Hijra. So she was so she wondered why my mom was treating so nicely to them, where they always get bullied, they get harassed. So then my mom said that, yes, I believe in humanity, and you people are human. So why won't I just treat you just like I treat other people? And then the Mala Hijra was in tears. My Mala Hijra shared her life struggles, her life story with my mom, and that touched my mom. My mom got to know that Mala Hijra once was born in a very good family, but because of her gender, he got abandoned. And this thing, my mom was touched by this story, and then later on, my mom inspired me to work for this community. My mom told me that when you are grown up, when you have the ability to help this community, nobody likes to help them. So, and then later on, I tried to, whenever I'm seeing them in local transport or in park or anywhere collecting money, I try to talk to them in a friendly manner. And unlike my other friends, they were like so afraid of talking to this Hijra community. They felt like these are like some wild animals or what. I mean, so inhumanly they treated this community. So so the more I was growing up, the more I felt the importance of helping this community. Then I started to work with other organizations, and every time I was posing their right, someone was trying to demotivate me, try to tell me that no, you cannot just work for this community, this is so challenging, and you are just a woman, you can't do it, blah blah. So this is what made me more passionate to work for them. I was like, why nobody is trying to help them? And why would be some challenging thing? They are human being. I'm just trying to uphold their rights, that's it. So this is what how the inspiration came from, and then I started to more knowing their story, their struggles, and the more I was knowing, the more empathetic I was towards them. Like they are getting every sort of abused from their family, from the society. So this is why I started built this organization Transcend in 2019, and me and my team are trying my best to uphold their rights and help them to get their rights and get a better life, like just like ours. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanha. Great. Tanha already shared with us not only who inspired her, but also the impact of her initiative and the plans and how it is to be in this leading position. Who else want to share your inspiration, your impact, and your experience?
Can I?
Sure, Angela.
Okay. Uh, I used to be someone who was indifferent, not caring at all about the world around me. I thought if it was not my problem, then just let it be, right? But then one of my teachers, Mr. Martinez, approached me and asked me a question like, why do you go to school? What is your purpose here? Over and over again, until I realized the reason behind it. I start to notice the current reality where many of my peers engaging in negative and unproductive behaviors such as cheating in school, smoking, drinking, and fighting. I was I want every young people to have a self-awareness and to be the best version of themselves. Hence, I start Tertulit in 2017 through our program in Tertulit, such as the self-actualization and leadership camps, ecology club, social awareness training, mentorship, and others. We have engaged more than 60 young people from different youth and religious organizations to understand their self and feel empowered to take charge of their future. We have about 25 members in our team who could lead the Catholic movement and enable young people to stand up for themselves and take action. When one of my friends first joined Tertulis, she was afraid to speak in front of public. But now, because we have a program to encourage young people to lead the activities alternately, she now feels comfortable being in charge of a specific group to achieve a task.
You, Angela. You, Sanjana.
Hi, everybody. So I started Ritu Chakra. Well, to begin with, I come from a family which is very philanthropic. And so I've been involved in community service since I was 7 years old. And since then, I've been taking part in many initiatives, donating books to charity, having drives, stationery collection drives. So it's been a part of me since I was a very young kid. Additionally, within my own household, my mom as well as my grandparents, they're all social entrepreneurs. So seeing them from a young age, I feel like inspired me a lot to stand up for what I believe in. And they always taught me, empathy is the key, always giving back to society. And whenever you believe in something or feel passionate about it, stand up for it. So when I came across this problem about menstruation, etc., within society, that's when I decided to take up Ritu Chakra as an initiative. It started on my 16th birthday. So for us, it's a family tradition that every special occasion or every birthdays, festivals, etc., people who are less privileged than we are. And so for my 16th birthday, I celebrated it with an orphanage called Thai Money. When I happened to go there, I noticed that, and I used their washroom, I noticed that although it was decently maintained, it raised a question in my head as to how did these individuals maintain their hygiene in an area which lacked adequate sanitation. And because I had my periods, it fueled the question, how did they manage their periods as well? When I discussed this with my family, they told me, if you feel so passionately about it, why don't you talk to the founder? And after which I realized that several people would come forward to donate books, toys, stationery, etc. Little to nobody would come forward to donate something which was as important as menstrual products. And all of the funding of the organization would go into administration and education, with little to nothing in healthcare. So in the absence of resources, these individuals would resort to using literally anything and everything to control their blood flow. And personally, as a menstruator myself, that just didn't sit well with me at all. On doing further research, I even realized that this is not something which is an isolated case. This is something that affected over 360 million menstruators in India. And so that's when I decided, I had to do something about it and started an initiative for menstrual hygiene, which ended up becoming Ritu Chakra. The thing is, my family has been extremely supportive of me. The fact is, I started Ritu Chakra 10 days before my 10th grade board exam. And in India, 10th grade board exams are a big thing. So people initially said, oh my God, are you crazy? Like, how can you start right now? But for me, it was, if I don't start right now, if I don't distribute products, if I don't have this awareness session, these individuals go without products and adequate resources for 2 more months. And that's not okay with me. So even if it was like a week before my 10th grade board exams, I knew I had to start at that moment. So that's kind of how Ritu Chakra came into play. We, till now, like in impact terms, we have distributed over 140,000 menstrual products, helped around 8,000 individuals. And these 8,000 individuals, we give them a regular supply of menstrual products. So throughout the years, they have adequate resources, and we keep trying to expand more and more. We've worked with over 22 organizations to conduct workshops along with follow-up sessions, because we recognize that even after conducting one workshop, these individuals go back into an environment that enforces menstrual discrimination and myths. So we want to ensure that we have a lasting impact. So we keep reinforcing the idea that menstruation is something that is so beautiful and so empowering every 6 months. And we've seen that it's had phenomenal results. We started period talks in schools, and in response to the pandemic, we have distributed over 80,000 menstrual products and have multiple collaborations under the way to even increase livelihood for migrants, etc., who have been affected, and empower them through menstruation and menstrual products. So we have a lot of exciting things coming the way, and it gives me so much happiness every day to see so many individuals, be confident in their own bodies, empowered by menstruation.
It's very important for all. And Isabel?
Sure. So I remember that when I was a little kid, I think it was the first time I recognized what it means to be like a Black girl in Brazil. So I think when I was like 5 years old, my mom
let me in the theater for the first time, and I was a little bit surprised because I was the only Black kid in the room. So I was a little bit confused because I didn't understand why. It was just me and my mom who were Black women there, and I started to see a lot of Black women entering the room where I was. And all of them were using white clothes. So I asked my mom, why aren't we using those white clothes too? Because we are Black women and they are too. So we should be using the same thing, right? So she explained it to me that the Black women who were there, they were taking care of the children who were watching the theater with me. And for this moment and on, I started to be very observative about the environments that I wore and the places I started to get there. So I think this was something that happened to me and make me understand that those Black women who were not watching the theater with me, the only thing that separate us was the opportunity. So they were nannies taking care of the children, and I was there in the middle of the room watching the theater, and maybe it was important for them watching it too. So when I started to grow up and started to have access to a lot of opportunities, I conquered good scholarships in great schools here at the city I live in São Paulo. And I started to see that all of the Black people, Black women especially, I used to see in my daily basis activities in my routine were working in roles like cleaner or the guard or I have never had a Black teacher, for example. So this started to bother me because everywhere I went, I started just to be the only Black girl in the environment, the only Black girl of the class. So I was feeling negligent about not doing anything to change this reality. So when I was 13 years old, I had a great opportunity to pursue my first exchange program at the United States. And again, I was the only Black girl in the group. So by this time I was very I was feeling very uncomfortable, and when I came to Brazil, I said to my mom that I didn't know what I was going to do, but I needed to do something to change this reality. So we started to talk, and this was an important point because I have always had my mom's support during this transformational journey as a young change maker. And me and her, we started to think about probabilities, what we should do, what can we do. So we created this social project called Black Girls, and we started to working to develop girls who came from the same point I am from, to make them understand that they can and they need to dream big and pursue their dreams regardless of their race, their gender. So what we do is to empower those girls through development opportunities. So our goal is to see, like in 10 years from now, a lot of leaders who are Black women, those girls understanding that they have potential to do whatever they want to do. So this is something that I see. I always say that this is my purpose, and this purpose fuels my passion. So this is my mission with the world, and I truly want to see this change beginning to happen and to bring good results in our society.
Great, thank you, Isabel. Mana?
Sure, I have to share. So Object started a very personal need, which is that I was struggling with my confidence. I'm a huge nerd. When I went into middle school in grade 6, I realized that I didn't any woman I could look up to who could tell me that you don't have to try and be popular and look like your stereotypical girl. And when I shared this concern with my friends, I was honestly shocked that many of them my experience, and that's when I realized that I had to do something. And for me, something meant starting with just one event, one workshop, and I was going to see, how does it work and do people like it? And from there, it's just grown over the last 4 years.
It really is inspiring listening to you, and we can see the diversity of the questions that you are addressing and the importance of them. So you are focused and you begin to change your own reality, but we are talking about the things that matter for everyone, and mainly for the women from all ages, in any country, in any part of the world. So it's really inspiring. We will go to the second part of our panel. We should have be a little bit more accelerated here, but I would like to stress a little bit, to talk a little bit about some common aspects that you are all addressing and experiencing. So I will ask you, Sanchana, about the boys, the men. What are their role in this process of empowering women to achieve their position in the society?
Could you please repeat the question? I wasn't able to hear you.
I'm asking about the boys, the men. What are their roles in your adventure? Do they have they take part in something? Don't they? What they have to do?
Yes, definitely. I think men have a very important role when it comes to the menstrual movement. Of course, menstruation is considered as a taboo topic in many parts of the world, and one of its implications is that it's the menstrual movement at large is generally focused on women or people who have a uterus, etc. People think it's only those individuals who should be involved. So it's very rarely that men are included into that conversation, or they are involved because they feel that why should we be involved in something that doesn't directly influence us. But I think that it's so important for men to be involved because men and boys actually largely influence how a woman experiences menstrual health management through various sections of society, right? Like household, community, schools, government, etc. By adopting various roles, which is that of a husband, a father, teacher, employer, policy maker, and so on and so forth. And the thing is, menstrual hygiene at large, it's also an underlying cause of gender equality because it plays into that power dynamic which exists, right? In a largely patriarchal society that we live in, wherein women are considered weak or belittled simply because they have such an empowering process, a natural process that is going through their body. So we at Ruthu Chakra try to ensure that we're able to put that men in menstruation and we involve them in every step of the way because they make the other half of the society. So it's very important that in order to truly achieve menstrual equity, that they are involved in this conversation. A large number of members of our team itself are boys who do a lot of our ground level work, who conduct a lot of workshops, talk about menstruation to really drive that point home. We try to emphasize on other boys and other males, non-menstruators as well, to truly recognize their role within the menstrual movement, right? For instance, I mean, everything starts from your household and communities. So within your own household, be a supporter, try to be, like when men are sensitive, they end up being more effective. And when it comes to supporting other menstruators throughout their journey, so they empower them as well. For instance, within my own household, I come from a feminist household where my parents and my grandparents were super open to talking to me about menstruation and periods. And so I feel very confident in myself when I speak about it, and which is why I'm able to talk about it on this platform as well, right? It empowers me. And so that is the power that people hold. In fact, my grandfather was the one who gave the name Ruthu Chakra in the first place. So involving within households, people should be involved, to break down that menstrual discrimination and stigma which exists that is enforced onto different individuals. We say that as a community member, you have a voice. So you can influence a certain number of people, right? When you have a voice, you have the power to make a change. You can challenge these taboos, challenge these stigmas which exist within your society. Within our schools and workplaces, right? Make it a more menstrual-friendly community and environment. For instance, have toilets which have proper sanitary disposals, like disposal units, or even have menstrual awareness workshops, give menstrual leaves, so on and so forth, up to the government level, because even if policymakers were able to understand menstrual health and reproductive health to a deeper context, then a lot of the issues that exist today, such as lack of access to education, lack of access to resources, the tampon tax would probably not be a thing had these individuals understood truly what menstruation and reproductive health was. So since men make the other half of the society who also take up these large number of roles, we find that it's very important to include them in that conversation to truly like successfully empower a community.
Yes. Tanha, and what's the role of the education system, the schools, the teachers, the universities, the youth programs? What should they do to empower women and everyone to?
So education is, in my opinion, education is the first step to be to make an empowered nation or an empowered society. So even in our country, before 1960, women couldn't read. Women weren't allowed to go to schools, to go to colleges, go to educational institutions. So in 1960, there was this change maker, this pioneer in our country, Begum Rukia, a female herself, who started to make this change, who started to motivate women, young girls to to receive education. She in our country, she first of all started this school for women. So after that time, when women started to start reading, started to receive education, it started to be a method to think to help them think critically and creatively, to make them feel free, to make them feel independent, and effective communication, which later make them be change makers in our society. They started to realize the injustice that is happening in the patriarchal society. Their rights are not to, are not talk about. So this is how education started to make an impact in our country. So so of course education is important to make any sort of empowerment. This is why in my organization, education is a very important part. So through education, I have stated before that transgender community in our country, they can't get proper education. This is the reason they can't get employment, jobs. This is why they are forced to do sex working or begging, which are not, the mainstream people are not liking it. So what we have to do is educate this community. And when they are educated, and then when they are receiving the trainings, the proper education, they later on can empower themselves by earning, by doing entrepreneurship or doing other employments, involving themselves in other employment sectors. And then when we will see that no, the transgender community are not only do jobs, begging or sex working. We are doing, going to a restaurant. I'm seeing an transgender waiter, or going to an office. I'm seeing their transgender clerks. This is that's when it will get normalized. Transgender community will be empowered, and that's when the proper change making will happen. So this is what I aspire, this is what my team and my organization aspire, and this is our mission and vision. This is what we want to see after like 5 or 10 years, to make this community normalized and making them empowered through education and other things. So yeah, it's important.
Awesome. Isabelle, you told a little bit about the situation of the Black population, Black people in Brazil. We have a strong movement, Black movement in Brazil for decades already. But this Black Lives Matter movement that just began some months ago has impacted your venture in Brazil and the movement in Brazil. What's the impact of this now?
I think that just comparing the two countries, the United States and Brazil, where we have this racial issue regarding Black people more evident, I think the main difference between these two countries that in Brazil we have a lot of cases like in the United States. For example, in US, the Black population is about 13% of the population, and here in Brazil we are 56%. So a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people think that here in Brazil, that in the United States, they have more Black people because they have more, the social movement regarding their rights are more, are stronger than here in Brazil. And this is something that needs to be very worked, because here in Brazil, we have a systematic racism where it is like veiled. People don't want to see it. And a lot of people has a vision like racism is a individualist conception, but this is a bigger problem, because this is a social structure. So the institutions here in Brazil are racist because the historic and political process that we have been passing through all of those years. And I think the Black Lives Matter movement have helped a lot of people here in Brazil to understand the importance of that and how it is much worse here in Brazil. For example, yesterday we have a case very similar to George Floyd, where a woman her breath was taken by a policeman who pissed on her neck, exactly like the George Floyd. So I say that here in Brazil, if we compare in a systematic vision, we have one George Floyd for 23 minutes. So this is a very scary scenario, and that's why I think that movements like, even especially for young change makers, are important for us to understand the scenario and locally to act. So the Black Lives movement has helped me a lot to share with people to develop consciousness and awareness regarding to this and the importance of act, because I feel that in my history, the main point that helped me to overcome those obstacles were mainly the education. But unfortunately, Black people in general here in Brazil are from poor backgrounds, and when you're from poor backgrounds, you don't have proper education. So I think one point that is very important is to have people who is like sponsors and allies in this journey of transformation, because this made me in my personal life, this was a point that helped me a lot to overcome those obstacles and to achieve great goals and achieve my dreams. So what I do is to multiply all of that with the girls from the project and with the youth from the project, because I feel that we have a lot of potential to change that, seeing the world scenario with the power of young people, and also the power of technology to change this whole actual scenario. But what blocks us to do it fastly is the engagement of people, and people don't engage because they don't understand. So this is one of my missions, to spread this awareness and consciousness about this topic, then to people really understand, especially the role of women. When we're talking Black people, we have this scenario, but when you're talking about Black women, Black girls, it is even worse. And I see that women in general, we have the power to change this. So for example, we live in a world that men they have their rights and their access more easily, because they understand the power that they have to conquer their benefits. So girls need to be empowered to understand that we need to act towards our interests and our goals, because once we do it, we are going to change this reality. So it's so important for us to empower girls and to empower them to be young change makers, because we have such enormous power to change this. And there's also and Black activist from United States, Angela Davis, that she says that when Black women rises, we collectively rise too, because this is exactly because of this power of the actions that we can develop.
Yes, totally right. Angela, we have been talking about the family, the education, the man. So who are the most important stakeholders that we must activate to change the decision-making process in order to empower the youth to be protagonists in this, or know the decision-making process in the societies?
Wait, the connection not really good in here. Hello?
That's okay.
Okay. For me, the stakeholder is the really important is from my environment. Okay. In my opinion, institutions and stakeholders that play an important role in expanding network for young people are the ones in the closest environment around us, starting from families, schools, and of course, our friends. Starting from the support system around us, I believe I will be very helpful in creating more platform and space for young people to grow as change makers. For example, if the school is supportive in the growing up experience and education for young people, the principal and teachers will create a space for the students to express their ideas, initiative, creativity beyond the subject in school and show it to the Ministry of Education as a role model. That way we can grow gradually both the students, the school, and the education system. Then why I choose the people around me because I believe that change can start from our closest circle and from our everyday life, no matter how small it is. It is something that can grow and spread through small groups. Why not apply that something for positive change for the better? Certainly, if it starts with young people, for young people, there will be more and more of their peers who are interested to create change. And then, in my opinion, the quality needed by a young people to be able to bring change is to become a leader with self-concept, that is a leader who has intelligence in managing himself both in the intellectual, spiritual, and emotionally. Then a leader will also have strong desires or intrinsic motivation, passion, and empathy to help make a difference in the mood environment. In addition, they must also have empathy because with the empathy that is embedded in the spirit of a change maker, it will guide and direct them that everything they do will be done for the good of all and bring positive impact to the people and environment around them. Not only that, as a change maker, one must have optimism or a positive thought, have a desire to spread goodness, and have brave enough to take the first step.
Thank you, Angela. So, Mana, you are a journalist, aren't you? So, please enlighten us about the importance of how to engage media in this process of everyone a change maker and every youth recognizing and experiencing change making. How do we create story on this?
Absolutely. I think that storytelling is the most important thing because as women change makers, we need to give girls access to other women change makers so that they can see that they can do it as well. I really like to use the phrase, if she can be it, I can too. And, giving girls a platform to see one another and recognize their potential and build their own confidence through hearing the stories of powerful women and, seeing the similarities that have and seeing that wow, well, she started small, and so I can take one small step today and begin. And stories hit, I think, differently than just statistics and facts. because it makes so much more personal. Like Angela was talking about, you get to build that sense of empathy and community. And so journalism and the media are absolutely important, but so are sessions like this, and so are all the people that are attending and listening and creating the strong sense of community where we can all share our stories.
And for those who are watching us, Ashoka has this named Lead Young. That's exactly this campaign of sharing lead young stories like the ones that we are learning today. And so we are reaching the final minutes. I would like to make the final round, listening to you to talk a little bit about how to encourage more young women like you, and how they can recognize that they have the power, and that how can they find the solutions and engage others in this process. So please help other young women, and not only the young women, all women. What can they do? Who wants to begin?
Oh, can I start? Okay, so I think the first point for the female empowerment for girls and for women is to understand that we need to act in a way that to understand our potential to achieve our goals, to achieve our dreams, and also because when we act towards our to achieve all of those things, think about in a way that benefits our development and grow as women in the society. This is going to generate a sustainable development for all the next generations that will come after us. So and there's a thing that I always think that makes a lot of sense for me, that that is, when you shine, you allow other people to shine too. So I see myself, I have a lot of inspirations of women in leadership roles, and because they shine, I am able to shine too. And this is my, this is something that I always remember. So when I feel like a little bit down because I feel underestimated by somebody or some situation, because I am facing any kind of obstacle, I always think about this and the importance of me to be shining to other girls to look up at me and to shine too. So the message that I would give to girls and women in this journey of transformation is to first understand their potential, because we are able to do anything we want to, and if we don't know, we learn, and we can join forces with other women who are in this journey already, because we are very capable of doing this, and to truly believe that you can shine, because society sometimes makes us feel that we cannot do something, but we actually do. It is hard in this first round of transformation because we don't have a lot of references, but we are going to be the first generation of a great number of inspirations. So I think that this is something that I always have in mind, and I will share to other women and girls to have too.
Are you all right?
Yes. Okay, Sanha, if you want to go first, you can.
All right. So one message I would love to give the women, young or in any age, that to be united and to help each other, uplifting each other to grow, to be another change maker. Because every female needs to be a change maker to actually break the gender norms, gender stereotypes, the taboos that are still in our society. So unity is strength. We have to be united and we have to help each other. And if we can help all the women just like we help our own siblings, then I think our country or the world will become a better world. And What I believe is when you are stronger, but when you are helping another person, you become a more stronger. So yeah.
I'd like to add on to that. First of all, I completely agree with what Isabel and Tanha is saying, and all four of these inspire me to and motivate me to keep working harder as well. Just like Isabel said, when everybody shines, like you shine too. And I think that's so incredible, with all these sisters here. Another thing I would say is like, so getting young leaders ready, whether they're young women, men, it's like each movement, everybody has the power to change. So regardless of your gender, you need to truly recognize that you have a privilege. I think many of the people who are watching this video right now, you at least have a laptop, right? You probably have a roof over your head. You can get like 3 square meals a day. You can, you can afford a proper education, which is so much more than many people can ask for today. So recognize that you have that privilege. The ability to be able to help somebody else is a privilege, right? And so that in itself is a huge power that you have. So it's kind of channelize that power in the best way that you possibly can. And I know that, sometimes when you say as women, because we live in somewhat of a patriarchal society where there's male privilege that does exist, it may become a little bit difficult for us to, break out of that shell and go against, what people generally say, okay, women shouldn't be doing this, etc. But it's so worth it, it makes you that much stronger. And I see all these inspiring people around me. I see my mom, who made me break out of that shell and say, no, regardless of what people say, I'm able to stand strong and I'm able to talk so proudly about something that I'm passionate about for any of you. So believe in yourself, stand up for what you believe in, recognize your privilege, and don't let anybody tell you that you can't do something just because of your gender. So I think that's super important. One more thing, I think if there are any parents, etc., here, or if even like women, change starts from your household as well. I think an person's environment determines their mentality to such a large extent. So within your household, start distribution of care as well as household chores, etc., should be equal between all genders. Try to promote gender equality, empathy, talk about that, because when a kid sees that from their formative years, they start becoming accustomed to it and they start thinking along those lines as well. So I saw this when I was a kid, right? Because my family was it was a huge feminist family. Everybody promoted gender equality. And so I have the confidence to stand here and sit here, well, and talk about gender equality. And I know that my family, etc., that I would make in the future, gender equality would be a part of it. I would never treat somebody differently because of it. So within your own families, try to have that structure so that you're kind of creating a ripple effect through several generations, right? You're not letting that cycle continue. And again, stand up for what you believe in, because my favorite line is this, that our generation is known to be the most powerful generation and most revolutionizing generation there is, with the Gen Z. And so we're going to tap into that. And I really hope that you all recognize your dreams and potential and are able to make a change.
I think I agree with what everyone said so far, especially Isabel. This idea of, being that role model for other girls and being someone that they can up to is just so powerful. And I think the other thing that I would add is often see women change makers as super, accomplished and powerful. I think we need to start celebrating the obstacles and the struggles so that change making isn't so missed anymore, and girls can really see that I can do it too. So talking about those steps that they took and seeing what were the challenges that they faced at the beginning and what are the ongoing struggles that they face now in the project, so that it's not like I'm struggling, I need to stop, but instead I heard your story and my project's struggling too, but if you got through it, I will too.
Okay. Actually, to bring a change depends on ourselves. In my opinion, there is no limit to who can bring change and who is more important. Because if we have a very strong will and desire, I'm sure that whatever obstacles we have, we can definitely overcome it. Even though we are girls, I don't think that has any effect because it is all a matter of mindset. And actually, in condition like us, we should realize that there is no gender equality. No matter you are women or man, you can all do something useful and create impact for the surrounding. As long as I said before, there is a great will and desire and believe that the change we make are for something positive and can spread goodness. Go for it and take that first step who will lead you to amazing change making adventure. And I think from today's sharings, there must be many things that make us more aware of something. But for me personally, we should never consider ourselves unable to achieve high things such as bringing about a change, because when your mindset is headed there, it will be difficult to gain back the confidence in yourself. If you have start going there, you should be able to slowly change that mindset and tell yourself that you can, that every obstacle in front of you can be overcome because you have an extraordinary powerful in yourself, especially women. If our mindset is positive, we have a strong desire and will, then we will bring a change with the step we take. I believe that nothing is impossible in this world as long as we try and pray.
So inspiring to listen to you all. And I'll ask you, Yashveer, what you have learned today. Every time we are with them, we learn something. And you have the privilege of being with all of them for the last months and years.
No, yeah, I think you rightly said, Elena, that I have had the privilege of working and meeting. I think four of them I worked with personally, one that I work with remotely. And I think every time I listen to them, I think there are new insights and new learnings which I take away. And each one of them, I think, brought some new points on the table, and we cut across how do parents work, how do education systems should evolve, how do I think stories and media should work. And I think some of the important aspects which at least I'm taking away is, so when we talk about everyone a change maker at Ashoka, we talk it in context of that there is this new inequality which we are seeing, which is getting created. And the inequality is between those who have the power of being change makers and those who have not had the power of being a change maker. And I feel like more and more people are on the right side of that inequality, and more and more more and more people get that power. It will also address a lot of existing inequalities. And today, I think this panel is a direct testimony that these five young, powerful leaders have, in some sense, demonstrated that once someone really supports them or once they decide that this is the change they want to bring, no one can stop them. So my last, I think, thought would be and message to, I think, all our audience and also for this group is that what Sanjana was saying, I think being a change maker is a gift or a privilege which we have got. And I think if we can share that gift with others, it only helps the larger, I think, not just everyone change maker movement, but also I think the larger conversation around how do we make sure that girls and women have equal opportunity on every front to lead and to show new path and new direction to our society. So I'm just very thrilled and excited that we had this powerful group, and I again just wanted to thank the WISE team for thinking to put together this panel, because this is first time young change makers are on WISE platform, and I hope this just starts a new tradition where more and more young voices get their these platforms, and we are able to create an ecosystem where young people are really valued and their voices being heard, and they are able to be active contributors in change making. So just very inspired and thrilled, and looking forward to continue working with all of you. Thank you, everyone.
I want to thank you all, you Rose, you Yashveer, because I think it was once again very inspiring with listen to you. I'm more used to be with the young change makers from Brazil, and now to have this panel with from different countries, from different continents. It's very, very inspiring as we see what's common in this generation, the possibilities, the power, the conditions to step up and really complete the journey that we have, the generations before you have begun of changing the world for the good of all. And it's good that we have here this opportunity open up by the Wise Up. So I thank the Wise Up organizers. This was supposed to talk mainly about the gender inequalities, but we are talking also about the racial inequalities and the age inequalities and the new inequalities as something that is reinforcing all of them, and unless we step up. And so this is the urgency that you see and we see, and we are ready to begin to change the world. So thank you all. Thank you for everyone that is following us in the chat. They have good comments about how inspiring you are, and continue to the next panels that are as inspiring as this one. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
You.
Thank you.